Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. I recently made a video where we absolutely dominated World War II with Germany. We lost 27,000. They lost 2,033,000. Now many of you asked how was that possible, how did we achieve that? Well, a great part of the answer is right here in front of you. It is this tank. This is a tank I designed specifically for Germany and specifically for World War II. It may not work in every game. The production cost is fairly high, so you need a good industry to be able to get this tank done in decent quantity in time for World War II. But let's go over the tank, let's go over my choices briefly, and let's try to understand why this tank performs so well in World War II with Germany. Okay, so let's start with the choice for the main armament, and this is not a very popular choice, I believe. I went for the Howitzer instead of going for what most people would pick at this point, which is the medium cannon. The medium cannon has better overall stats. As you can see, it has much higher heart attack, piercing, and it even benefits our speed, reliability, and breakthrough. In addition to that, it's even cheaper, one cheaper than the Howitzer. So why do we go Howitzer? Well, the reason is that heart attack is only useful if you need to fight tanks, and piercing is only useful if the enemies have armor. In World War II, we are mostly fighting, 99% of the time we're fighting infantry without armor. So these two stats are completely useless. And soft attack is actually the only stat we really benefit from. The higher the soft attack, the higher the chance that we're actually pushing the enemy defensive lines. Now, let me clarify one thing. We're talking about single player because I get a lot of comments saying like, oh, you know, this design is garbage in multiplayer. Yes, these designs are for single player only. In multiplayer, you're more likely to go for medium cannon because you're more likely to fight either space marines, armored divisions, and you will need some more piercing. So this is what worked amazingly well for me in World War II versus the AI. Okay, let's move on to the next one. For the turret, we have actually a couple of choices. We don't really need the 3-man turret. The 2-man turret could be fine because what we lose here is only breakthrough. We don't need that much breakthrough. So the 2-man turret could be a choice. It's a bit cheaper. So again, if you want to make this design a bit cheaper, one choice is to go for the 2-man turret instead of the 3-man turret. I could afford it. I got my tanks in time for World War II. And the breakthrough does scale pretty well with the German doctrines, so it does work well with Germany, so I thought it was worth it in the end. And a very similar thing can be said about the radio. For the radio as well, we could choose the basic one or the improved one, and as you can see, the difference is pretty minimal. We're talking about only 3 in breakthrough. So again, to make the design a bit cheaper, you can go for the basic radio. I could afford the improved one, and it has slightly better stats, so why not? That's the reasoning. But you can go for basic radio indeed. Now next, I chose to go for 2 heavy machine guns. These are secondary turrets, and well, they give 4 soft attack. We decided to go for stacking soft attack, so this was the obvious choice. The small cannon gives even more soft attack, but here the production cost is significantly higher. We're talking about twice as much. So in my opinion, they are not worth it. Moreover, they also further decrease the reliability. Another option, if you want to make the design cheaper, if you want to make it work for a nation without a strong economy such as Germany, you can go for additional machine guns instead. I guess later I will show you a similar design, a cheaper version of this design that you can make with a nation with a less powerful economy. Okay, for the last one, I went for the wet ammunition storage to increase the reliability. And that is because I feel more confident with having a reliability around 80%, 80 to 90%. I didn't change anything here. So we're going for the cheapest suspension. I didn't improve the armor because at this point it would increase the production cost by a lot. And I felt like we don't really need more than 40 armor. 40 armor was already enough to be basically unpierceable from all of the divisions we are fighting. Of course, again, this would be different in multiplayer. As for the engine and armor, so 2 armor is to get to 40. Maybe you don't need it again if you're going for a cheaper one. 35 is probably going to be enough. To be fair, here it doesn't change the production cost, it doesn't change the armor that much. But again, for the cheaper version that I will show you soon, we can probably sacrifice some armor. As for the engine, when I made this design, 9 was required to get to 8 kilometers per hour. But then we got some modifier, as you can see there, through our doctrines. So now we have even more than 8. We have 8.9. This is not required. At the same time, we can benefit from it because as of now we're using this tank with motorized infantry. So we can get the full speed out of it. Okay, so this is all for what concerns the tank. Now, before we move on, let's also talk about a potential cheaper version for this tank. Okay, boys, so this is the cheaper version that I would design if I did not have the economy that Germany has. And an additional option is you could even go for the medium cannon instead of the Howitzer to make it even cheaper. That being said, you do sacrifice a lot of soft attack, so I would still stick to the Howitzer overall. What we sacrifice compared to the previous version is some armor, probably not massive, probably not entirely needed. We sacrificed some breakthrough by choosing the cheaper radio and turret. I think this should still be enough, but of course it would be a bit less powerful offensively. We do have a bit less reliability because I wanted to preserve the soft attack as much as possible, so we are no longer using the wet ammunition storage or whatever it was. Of course you can go for it instead of one of these machine guns. But with these machine guns we managed to make the design about 4 cheaper in terms of production, and the soft attack is still pretty good. We're also a bit slower because I decreased the engine to just get to the minimum of 8 kilometers per hour, but again you will need to adjust this depending on which nation you are playing and so on. But yeah, this is the cheaper version of my tank in case you don't have such a strong economy, and I believe this would still perform extremely well. Okay, now let's talk about the template that I am using for these tanks. And this is what I came up with. So what is the idea here? The idea is to maximize our soft attack. We got to almost 400 soft attack, which is crazy high at this point of the game. It's not 1940 yet, and we have a division with a very, very high soft attack. Now, the combat width is 33, which I found to be optimal for tanks. It works particularly well in plains and in urban terrains, and this is something I was told. I didn't study it myself, then I tried it and it worked very well. The rest of the composition here is well, as many tanks as possible to increase our overall soft attack. Then we get enough motorized to bring the organization to over 33 in this case. And finally I used the motorized anti-air to get to the combat width of 33, because if we used something else, like say the artillery, we would get to 35, anti-tank would be good, but we don't need it. And since Germany starts with the Recon company, I couldn't actually use the support anti-air company. I like the other ones more, especially the logistics and the medium flame tank for the extra attack bonuses. Recon gives us some nice movement speed bonuses, so it's actually very good for these tanks. So this is the template I have been using and I have been very successful with. This is not definitive. Later in the game this will be slightly different, so I will make another video with these templates and designs updated. That's about it. Thank you for watching. If you like this guide and if you like these designs, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.